Alright, here's a fast one. I got this prescription bottle that it's got this nice little touch to it. Actually, it was sent out as a test to certain CVS patients, and it keeps track of the time from the last time you open the bottle. So, for example, if you're supposed to take a pill every 8 hours, the clock resets when you put the cap back on to 0 and starts counting. So you know the last time you took it. Now, because this was CVS branded and labeled, I never knew who actually made this. I do now because there happens to be a web address under there. It's rxtimercap.com. So it's rxtimercap.com. They sell them for about $15 for two. Patent pending recycled plastic. This one's designed for CVS safety cap. Now every pill bottle is different. I don't know how you determine on their website which bottle fits your pharmacy, I guess. I thought the battery was dying because this thing's a good 3 years old, and they say the battery lasts about a year. This has actually lasted much longer, but since I was in here, I replaced the battery anyway. I just happen to have a couple of these sizes laying around. It came up at 1.2 on the voltmeter, which is probably more than enough for this cheap little circuit. But you know, the new batteries I had laying here were 1.5, so we replaced them. And you can see here, this is a simple little contact on the back. When that is pressed, it makes contact with the PCB, and we start counting. That's all there is to it, really. Not much here at all. So I used your typical, actually I used a metal plunger this time to get this out. So it wasn't hard, and then we're going to just snap this back in place so it holds position. There we go. And just for decoration purposes. So it turns out, though, I didn't realize there's no need to take out this bottom plate here as part of the safety cap. This plate just pushes on this contact inside here when you close the bottle. And the same thing, plunger, there's 4 little tabs in there holding it in. But it's a good thing I did take it out, because if you look close enough, there's a split right across here. So because of the strength of the spring and the cheaper plastic they were using here, this actually had caused, by taking it on and off, this plastic to split. So I basically folded it each way and put super glue. Where this ridge is still perfectly fine. That's a blunt of the strength. But I put some super glue inside on both sides and let it dry for a couple of hours. We should be good. If I give this pressure now, whoop, I heard it crack. In fact, I can see it cracking there. Yep, it's still opening up. So I think the idea might be to put, this is a ridiculously strong piece of metal spring. This should be more, this tab does not take that much to activate the clock timer. I think I'm gonna pull apart some old pens and put a much weaker spring and maybe widen out this hole here so there's no other contacts on the back of that PCB. That should be more than enough. Let me turn off my meter, and that should pretty much do it. Maybe I'll just do some super glue, some plastic welding here, you know, with the soldering iron tip, and just weld this over. Or maybe it's enough to run it for what it is right now. I mean, the only reason that I even got prompted to take this apart and figure out what makes it tick and how to replace the battery is because I looked at my bottle and realized that it wasn't on. So of course that's usually well, something's wrong. So let me go ahead and replace this spring, or weaken the spring, and see if we can melt this plastic over here and reinforce the strength on this a little bit, and then I'll be right back. So basically a heated instrument and melted it across the crack there on both sides. And I may go one more step further because I don't feel like going through this again. There's another, now that I've scored it in 2 different directions going across here, there's another alternative option, and it may or may not help or hold. I haven't really tried it for this type of fix yet. This is called Bondic. It's a liquid polymer that actually hardens upon contact with UV, with ultraviolet rays, and the viscosity of the liquid is light enough that it should seep into a little bit of cracks that are left over that I didn't cover when I was melting the plastic. And I'm going to make sure it lays down nice and flat. And you don't have to rush with this. This isn't like super glue. So now, actually even going to blow it around a little bit. And then when you take a UV light to it, within seconds, sometimes you even see a little bit of smoke come from it. It will harden up into a solid material. Now, of course, I could put another coat on there if I wanted to and kind of overkill. But I've already melted it, and this is just added structure, added security. You know what? Why not? I mean, I don't want to take this thing apart again later, so let's do... They say you can do up to 1 millimeter thick per coat. I've noticed if you have a stronger UV light, which I just happen to have, I'm not using it though, I've gone much thicker than 1 millimeter using the stronger light because the light's able to penetrate deeper, of course. But when you're doing much stronger light, even this light, I'm surprised they don't recommend wearing safety glasses for this, honestly. Because this light does seem to carry a pretty good amount of reflectivity off of the material that I'm bonding here. So this should fill in these cracks that I created, because I didn't add any plastic to this. So I'm actually just filling in the cracks, but the scores that I made with the soldering iron tip are actually a good thing, because otherwise, if this was perfectly flat, if it was perfectly flat, this Bondic material would have nothing to actually adhere to or bond to when I cure it with the UV light. So by making these scores with the soldering tip and melting the plastic the way I did, basically X scores, crosses, little X's on it, I gave this material something to bond to. Oh, that's more than perfect. That filled in all the cracks there. And it doesn't have to last or take a lot of pressure with this spring. It has a little flexibility there. I can hear it bend and tweak a little bit. And I'm watching the cap flex a little bit, but it's not cracking. So I think we're pretty much good. We got a good solid repair going on here. Since I did hear it crack a little bit, I want to figure out where it separated or where it may have cracked open a little bit. So I'm just going to go over this one more time to fill in wherever those cracks may have started. Just a quick lighter layer. They say about 4 seconds actually does the job here. And this other side was filled in so well, I really doubt it needs another layer, but you know, what the heck. We're just going to go on each side of the current bit that I filled in here already, so it attaches to the current Bondic and lays over onto the plastic where I added the new Bondic. We can cap this up now. Yeah, this should be more than overkill, but the bottle lasted 2 years. And if I never took it apart, I would have never known who actually originally manufactured this bottle. On the other hand, looking at the design of it, I would not say $15 for 2 caps is worth it. So, making it a non-replaceable battery and claiming the battery only lasts a year, and then for what it is, if you have $15 for 2 of these caps for your bottles, or maybe it comes with a bottle too, it still doesn't justify the cost, honestly. So we're going to put this lid back on here. We want to make sure that that spring is lined up in the center. That may be the slightly tricky part. Making sure that spring is where it belongs. There we go. Click that in. All right. And we have one more spot to then click in. There we go. So now, lid, clock, no clock, clock, no clock. Should be more than enough. The idea is the outside, when the pressure of this safety child lock pushes against it. For decorative reasons. Still got a little bit of adhesive on here. We'll go ahead and put the label back on it, make it look like it was never opened at all. And we can do this two ways. We can take some hot air and go over this lightly so the adhesive kind of re-glues this label down, or just basically with friction. Go ahead and rub your finger across the label in the same area a few times with some pressure. And this will heat it up enough to probably keep this label on where it won't come off. I'm working from the outside in. I probably should have worked from the middle out, but yeah, it doesn't matter. So, we have our pill bottle, and I can't do this because this is one of those little one-off 2-second videos, nothing special, nothing big. You didn't see me take it apart. I got pictures of taking it apart in the beginning. I'll go ahead and add those pictures to it, but basically lid off, lid on, turn lid, clock starts. And you can see the little blinking in the middle. Really basic, cheap, like kids watch kind of clock with a single feature programmed into the IC, which is a forward stopwatch without the seconds. Nothing big at all, not worth the $15 they want for 2 of these. But it has helped me over the years quite a bit. And where I forget to set the timer, and I'm supposed to take this pill every 8 hours, and because I forget to set the timer, I go back and I look at the pill bottle and I say, okay, it's 4 hours in. So if it's 4 hours in, that means set timer for 4 hours, and I know I can still take that time on time. Now I'm sitting here floating here, not knowing when to take this my next dose, because the combination between a weaker battery and the crack caused this timer not to come on. But we've seemed to fix that, and we do have a web address now that if anybody else is interested in going and buying these, CVS does not sell these. This was actually sent to me as a sample test years ago. 2 years ago, probably 3 years ago actually. So the battery lasts a lot longer than a year, I can tell you that right now. And as a sample test, they decided not to move forward with it and not to resell this in their stores, which every time I mention this bottle to somebody, they're like, wow, that's a great idea. I need something like that. I don't know why CVS decided not to move forward with this. I think it's a great thing. Is it worth $15 for 2 lids? No, but if more people buy them, maybe the price will come down on these freaking things too. I'm half tempted to contact the company and say, if I buy, I don't know, 3,000, how much will cost me? And then I'll sell them at cost, honestly, because they are worth. They've helped me quite a bit. Anybody that has to take a pill in a timely manner, like every 8 hours, every 4 hours, or whatever the case is, or every 12 hours, this definitely tells you if you're late taking it, or if you're taking it early by looking at it first, going, oh wait, I still have another hour. So I think it's a great thing myself. But again, $15 for 2 of these lids for the construction and what's in there. There's nothing to it, and yeah. And I don't know if it. I know my Kroger pharmacy, my Walmart pharmacy, my CVS, Walgreens, whoever. The lids are slightly different. They don't fit on. This was made specifically with a CVS lid, but for some reason pharmacies, this is ignorant of them, can't seem to just make the same frickin' child-proof lids. They have to make their clips and their little latches a little different So you have to use their bottles. Now I understand that because legally with a prescription, this is supposed to have a label and a name on it because it is a prescribed item. So legally, I guess there's some kind of, yeah, there's probably some legality crap there, honestly, now that I think about it. This is illegal, what I'm doing right now, supposedly, according to federal and state law, because I'm using a bottle with a prescription in it and it doesn't have the contents listed, the strength, or the name of me, or at my address, or anything, or prescription number on there. But this is the bottle that has the timer lid. So I continue to use this. And the prescription I have in here is filled by a different pharmacy, not CVS. So therefore, this cap does not fit on my other bottle. But I keep the original bottle with the original label and everything right next to this one in the safe. They are sitting right next to each other, so there's no doubt you know what is it. You know, these two go together. And I keep one of the original bottles in the original, one of the original pills in the original bottle, blah, blah, blah. You know, so it's not like anybody's going to be able to get inside my safe anyway if they need to figure out what I took, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, all in all, really cheap, neat little design. I just wasn't willing to pay $15 to replace the freaking battery, or you know, something that I could just glue and melt over and fix that little issue there. Done. We're done. So the problem was before the cap was all the way on and it was off. I can pull up on the cap now. It doesn't turn off. I'd say we're good. Problem fixed.